you ever gone on a family vacation and felt like you needed a vacation? I love spending time with my family, but truthfully, I don't always love visiting the places they like to visit. If left up to me, we'd vacation somewhere with as few people as possible. Kids, on the other hand, usually prefer amusement parks, shows, shops with overpriced souvenirs, and generally any place that could double as a petri dish. Of course, parents try to make trips enjoyable for their kids, which is why so many places around the world build kid-focused attractions. My wife and I are no different. We try to plan vacations that are enjoyable for our kids. That doesn't mean that all of our trips revolve around them, but our most recent vacation was definitely kid-focused. The following is my experience from that trip and what I did to survive it. The time with my wife and kids was great. Like most parents, I enjoy seeing my kids happy and having a good time. The time with all of the other random people was, well, not great. I might even say it was miserable at times. I walked through the streets with the 1,000-yard stare of a battle-scarred soldier. Admittedly, my experiences as a tourist in a crowded town weren't exactly comparable to the horrors of war, but it provided its own sense of misery, no less. With sidewalks more congested than the roads, one was forced to shuffle their feet while walking at the speed of a tortoise through a cloud of body odor mixed with strange food aromas and a steady chorus of clamoring voices that were occasionally drowned out by the sounds of a dramatic roar designed to draw attention to a Ripley's Museum. Every once in a while, there was a disturbance to this pattern when a random child suddenly cried out. What was the child crying about? Initially, I thought maybe the parent suffered a mental break and dashed away in a desperate attempt to regain sanity. But no, that wasn't it. The kid was crying because mom and dad wouldn't let him have a cookie. I'm not sure who was more upset about this kid not getting a cookie, the kid or me. I would have loved to bolt away from that situation, but invariably, I reached a point in which the entire flow of the crowd slowed like cooling lava. What in the world was going on? Why were things moving even slower? Of course. Of course, an entire family decided to stand in the middle of the sidewalk to discuss their plans. I envy people like that. I really do. There they were on vacation and truly enjoying themselves without so much as a clue that there were other people in the world. A mass of humanity was flowing past, or at least was attempting to flow past, yet there they stood like an immovable boulder in the middle of a river. To be a boulder. Such a simple existence. The older I get, the more I realize how much I enjoy time alone, or at least time away from crowds and constant hustle and bustle. Therein lies the problem with visiting a town that has all the sanity and relaxation of Pee-wee's Playhouse. These destinations offer all the stimulation children's minds crave while nagging at the adult brain and typically causing disorientation as one tries to figure out exactly what in the world they are witnessing. In times like these, something is needed. In a previous era, the solution might have been a lobotomy. Today, we realize it's probably better to instead have some type of break or a retreat, if you will. This is hardly a novel idea. It's why tourist destinations around the world have golf courses, tennis courts, gyms, and bars. People need a break from the madness. But there's a problem with all of those solutions. I don't golf, I don't play tennis, I'm highly allergic to gyms, and drinking beer at 8 a.m. on a family vacation is, well, frowned upon. Fortunately, I know the perfect escape: riding. It's no secret to any rider that hopping on a bike and heading out for a spin is one of the best, if not the best, form of relaxation. It doesn't matter where you're riding, you can't help but enjoy yourself when you're on a motorcycle. Since I wasn't going to bring my own bike on my family vacation, I needed to rent one. Thanks to Smoky Mountain Harley Davidson, I was able to rent a Pan America for a few days. This was not sponsored in any way, I'm just letting you know you can rent from them, and they were both friendly and accommodating. Admittedly, I felt a little strange about renting a motorcycle while on my family vacation because I didn't want to take away from things my wife or kids wanted to do. Nonetheless, my wife assured me renting a motorcycle wouldn't disrupt plans. Now I know what you're thinking. You may even be saying it. This sounds like a trap. Truthfully, this possibility also popped in my mind. I know there are some wives and some husbands that operate that way. So, was this a trap? I'd only find out my wife's true feelings after the fact, and I'll share those later. At no point was my intention to turn this family vacation into a motorcycle adventure of my own. Renting a motorcycle was merely a way to have relaxing time each day, while my wife and kids engaged in activities I wouldn't do, like walking across a suspension bridge 100 feet above the ground, or climbing to the top of a tower to stand on plexiglass flooring and look down. In the words of Bob Dylan, "It ain't me, babe." I didn't need grand adventure to clear my mind, I just needed some time on a bike. Setting out each morning for a ride gave me the time I needed to disconnect from the chaos of the day before and prepare myself for the upcoming circus of that day. Though I never rode longer than 2 hours, that was time that I was in my own world, far removed from the crowds, noises, and overstimulating attractions. I was able to clear my mind and appreciate the scenery and peace of the area around me. The added bonus was I got to ride some new roads and went through some towns I had not previously visited. I'll confess those times can turn you a little greedy as you start having intrusive thoughts. You find yourself thinking things like, what if I just keep riding? I can take this bike on my own road trip home right now. Now, those thoughts don't go on for too long before you realize the complete absurdity of ideas like that. I can't ride a rental bike home. How would I return it? Whether those intrusive thoughts are reasonable or complete fantasy is irrelevant. Instead, these mental exercises are proof of the value of riding. It shows how the act of riding for a short time each day clears your head and sets your mind at ease with positive thoughts. It's essentially a form of meditation, but a much more fun form of meditation if you ask me. While I won't claim that riding each day filled me with enthusiasm for heading back into the sea of humanity and overpaying for mediocre food after waiting in seemingly endless lines, I can say it made me more patient than I otherwise would have been. I had a portion of time each day to do something I enjoyed, which relaxed me and reminded me that it's important to allow our loved ones time to enjoy things they like. My concerns about missing time with family or preventing them from doing things was entirely unwarranted. It turns out my wife was right. Renting a bike didn't disrupt plans one bit. To make things even better, I realized this was not a trap. My wife never once attempted to make me feel guilty, nor did she complain about me renting the bike. In fact, once I returned the bike, she said she was glad I rented it because otherwise I, quote, might have gone crazy on this trip, end quote. Thanks, honey. I appreciate that after all these years, you still tell me what I want to hear by pretending you don't already think I'm crazy.